Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we just defeated a Grave Hag in a very cool puzzle match, but let's get on our way, because next, we do of course have our main quest down here, but I was thinking that before we do that, we'd make our way up more in the northerly direction, because we saw there was a chest, a golden chest, up around here somewhere, and there's certainly a lot of stuff over here in this direction as well. So I'm thinking we go in that direction just to see what kind of stuff we can find. The other thing, though, that I wanted to do was that we were talking a bit last time about at our camp, specifically in the workshop, we had the option at, I believe it was the training grounds, to either go with Forger's Quarters or Herald Study. These were some things that looked intriguing because every time we win a battle, or I guess, but yeah, win a battle, I was going to say, if you lose to Zilkat, but no. Win a battle, you gain, in this case, a recruit, which is, of course, one of the resources that we're trying to accumulate, and in this case, more gold. And so I was saying, this catches my attention because, in theory, the earlier you get that, that means the more battles you will encounter with this active, and so the more total gold, or in this case, the more total recruits you will eventually acquire. So, for that reason, I was thinking we probably would want to try to prioritize that nice and early. And so I was thinking maybe we go Forger's Quarters here, because this is the one that gives us the gold, and we can almost afford to get both of them. However, we're a little bit short on gold, and we do have enough wood. So yeah, it's just a little bit of gold we would need to get both of them, and so why not take this one to get additional gold? The thing that I was wondering, though, is I was thinking about, with each battle, I was sort of asking this question a little bit earlier, but do the puzzle matches technically count as battles, or is it only the ones where we're fighting to the death? Because we've actually encountered a lot of puzzles and only 1 or 2 battles thus far, so if it includes puzzles, that's a lot of opportunity to gain a lot of extra gold, but if it doesn't include puzzles, then this might not be that good, but then again, still certainly the right time to do it this early in the game, so I think at the very least, let's give it a shot here, and we'll test it out. We'll see. Ooh, structural requirements not met. What do we need? We need training grounds first. I did not realize I was branching off from that. I thought since everything was at this sort of uppermost level that you could get any of this to begin with. Okay, well, we can afford the training grounds. We can. It's just that's going to be a sizable chunk of our resources, so we would not be able to get either Forger's Quarters or Herald Study after that, so I suppose let's take training grounds just to prepare ourselves, and let's see, so this will provide access to training grounds and enable you to recruit new combat units in the command tent. So that's something that we were also talking a little bit about, was trying to pick up additional units, additional cards that we could benefit from. Although, since we have a lot of puzzles, and the puzzles tend to give us pre-selected custom decks, it's not maybe as urgent as I was initially thinking it might be to create additional units, so we can be a little bit patient with that perhaps, but let's do it nonetheless. Okay, and I think we saw some familiar sights here. The Lyria and Rivia, I think at the very least we've seen before. Damaged by the number of cards on this row, yeah, including self. Okay, and then the Regiment Drummer I think is new. Play the top Blitz unit from your deck. Okay, and then Rivia and Pikeman summon all copies of this unit. Ooh. That's interesting stuff at the very least. Of course, we also need to actually create them at our other campground area, but that's maybe not so much the emphasis right now. I'm, for the most part, just trying to make it so we can actually unlock these. But, now that we've done that, let's exit. Oh, hold on, though. Hold on just a second. I saw the exclamation point. Is that just, in reference to the new units that we can now create, like the Lyria and Rivia? That maybe, yep, and Regiment Drummer and Rivia and Pikeman. Okay, so it is nice that it sort of highlights the ones that are now newly available to you. So that way you don't need to have a perfect memory in case if, say you unlock the units, or at least make it possible to create them, and then you wait a little while before you actually create them at the command tent. So, let's head on over in the northerly direction. And we also, you're paying a quick look at this cave here, just as a reminder, we were wondering, is it worth sacrificing a couple of units in order to get some additional gold? And I mean, we did just spend a ton of gold with that upgrade, so suddenly gold is perhaps one of the things that we need most. So, although previously I was saying that was something I was a little reluctant to do, maybe now is the right time. I mean, it's one of those things where you see the opportunity to make such an exchange and you figure, oh, it wouldn't be an option if it wasn't a good idea, right? Surely it's beneficial. But still, we don't have a great sense as to the conversion rate in terms of how much gold is one wood worth and so on and so forth. But anyways, this is our first time heading in this direction.
Pay homage to the gods. You shall be rewarded.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So, this is our first time chatting with this person. Let's head on over.
Melitele watches over us all. Yet you do well to remind her through supplication.
Okay. Seems as though this person is, well, that might even be a priestess.
There is ever time for prayer, even as war rages all around. Pleased to see ye yearn for the holy word, milady. I'll keep ye in my prayers to the Mother Goddess.
Oh, and we got better morale from that. So, alright. We did, in fact, get something from chatting with her, so that worked out well for us. Then we have this notice board here, it looks like. So we should now have some new markers. Ooh, a battle. So I was just talking about how it felt like we had far more puzzles than we did battles. So I'm happy to see that, yes, there are still some more battles as well. So we now know about this. We now know about this as well. Yeah, I was not even paying any attention to this stuff all the way up to the northeast here. I probably just figured you're only going to be able to make it up to this settlement here and nothing any further beyond the walls. But one step at a time. Certainly good to know those exist. Oh, and also this puzzle over here. That's more so the direction that I was thinking we would head in. But all that stuff we can certainly do eventually. What do we have here? A little bit more wood. That something? No? Just little reeds on the edge of the water? Alright, and what is... It's locked by the looks of things. Yeah, we can't get in there. Okay. So, presumably, that means that it's at least possible at some point to pick up some keys somewhere to gain access to that area. Okay, we have some more peoples here. Let's just take a look at our map, because we did see there are a lot of things over here. Oh, that's not our map. Silly lids. This is our map. So we have a point of interest. Might be the... I mean, that looks like that's sort of like right on the entrance of this area. Not sure if that's actually these people who are more or less right in front of us, or not. I'm guessing it is. Oh. I thought I saw the camera panning out.
The high road,
and I thought it was a cutscene of sorts.
Temple to Mother Melitele, situated at some distance. Meve turned towards Reynard.
What have we today? A sacred feast?
Not that I recall, Your Grace.
The Queen's brow darkened, her hands clenched into fists on her reins.
Then they sound the alarm. Follow me.
Okay, so it sounds like
Stained
they have a
glass
bit of an
shard
emergency here.
glinted in the grass. Bits of down, ripped from quilts, wafted through the air. The priestesses, gathered in the yard, were seeing to wounded pilgrims, setting toppled, oft beheaded or armless statues back on their feet.
What happened here?
The Strait of Spala fell upon us.
Sighed the prioress.
Stole the offerings, the monstrances, holy books. My lady, I implore you, come to our aid. Recover what's rightly ours.
Ever clever, Meve's scouts soon discovered the bandits' tracks. They led to some thick hazel groves east of the temple. The perfect place to hide, or to lie in ambush.
Okay, great voice acting, by the way. But, yeah, okay. Not so surprising that the Strays of Spala does seem as though they are a recurring threat of sorts.
It's all come clear now. Sabotage. 'Twas the bandits who weakened the walls.
Okay. Let's see if we can chat with them any further, though. Appears as though perhaps we can? I mean, they still have the talk bubble above their head, yeah.
Mother warned us. Hard times lie ahead.
Okay.
Good mother warned us.
Seems like that's all she has to say.
Hard times lie ahead.
So can we tell specifically where? Oh, I mean, it's probably this battle we were just talking about before. The east of the city. Maybe further north than that could potentially be this point of interest. But I think we still stick with our old plan of going up in this direction first, and then we will, of course, still go there. I assume it's not time sensitive in any way, or at least, you know, maybe once we do the main quest over here, it might no longer be accessible to us, but we certainly will go to it soon. Just not entirely sure if it's something we need to do absolutely immediately, or else it goes away. I hope that's not the case, but if so, then at the very least it's a learning experience for us. And it would potentially be worth just double-checking what the actual price is. Oh no, we need to go around to get access to that. Might be worth double-checking what the actual price is of those upgrades we were saying that we want to pick up soon. The ones that we were hoping to acquire, but then realized that we had to do a different upgrade first. Because we are now over 1,000 gold. I think it was 1,500, but let's just double-check. I think it was 1,500 gold and something like... Oh, not much wood at all, though. Not much wood at all. Okay. So, definitely, at least short-term, in theory, that may mean that gold is our priority here. So let's see what we can find. That doesn't sound good. Let's see. This is now a fast travel spot, so that's convenient. Let's take a little look around. Can we... Oh, this is the secret treasure that we got the map for, and you guys were saying that technically you can only find these hidden treasures if you have a map for them. You can walk in the right place, you can look for it, but if you don't have that map, you still won't be able to uncover it. So, good thing that we did choose to... I forget what it was. We had to sacrifice a resource in order to get it. But here we are. Let's check it out. Just casually pop that chest out of the water. Oh, and it's... Okay. The animated Strays of Swallow. Congratulations, you discovered a card that can be used in the Gwent multiplayer card game. Fantastic. Okay, so we could start going up in that direction. I was thinking we'd just go more to the west first and maybe chat with this person here. Then we'll head north or maybe northeast after that. We'll see. We've got plenty of options here.
As they rest undisturbed, something digs up their graves, opens their tombs.
Yeah, that sounds like the same thing she was saying earlier when we were just walking past. And it certainly does look like an encounter here, a puzzle. So again, this is just... I mean, this would seem like the kind of situation in which you would expect to have an actual battle of sorts, but perhaps not. Let's maybe loot first here, though. Because if we can somehow get to the 1,500 marker before this puzzle, that'd be fantastic. Not sure that's going to happen, but... Ooh, what do we have here? My lady, monsters defiled one of the tombs, laid waste to sacred graves. Bones litter the floor, and treasures enough to fill our coffers. The war is on, your grace. Surely the dead have no need for it. Right? Ooh, several options here. Okay, what's dead is dead. Find a cart, load the riches. We can get a lot of gold, but lower our morality. Or morale, I should say. And morality, I suppose. No further desecration shall befall this place. Leave the treasures, seal the tomb. Lose a little bit of wood, gain morale. Or we can just walk away and do nothing. This is a tough one. Well, actually, I would say we're kind of in an interesting place here because we already have high morale. So this doesn't do anything for us. We just, in fact, it harms us. We just lose wood and don't gain any benefit out of it. Whereas this one, I think I might have been asking this question before. If we're already on high morality and we lower our morality, do we go to neutral or do we go to low? Like, do we get dropped down by 1 point or 2 points? So this might be a good test of that. I'm kind of curious, and I think that, again, because this doesn't help us at all, why not? And we were just saying that gold is perhaps our biggest priority at the moment, so let's try it. Let's see, so... Oh, we just go neutral. Okay, so that's not bad. That's not so bad. Kind of wondering if we could also loot that grave there, but... So that's the puzzle. But, like I was saying, I think if we can... loot stuff first, and ideally get to the 1,500 mark before this encounter, and that's one more encounter in which we get the additional bonuses, if in fact it does apply for puzzles, which I don't know if it does, but this was the chest that we saw from way down there. We were saying, one day, we'll get there, just you wait. But here it is. It's a gold one. And what do we have? Congratulations, you can use this avatar border in the Gwent multiplayer game. Interesting, I did not even realize there were borders that we could unlock through Thronebreaker. So it's basically, well, I suppose it's relatively self-explanatory, but, you have an avatar in the multiplayer Gwent game, and you get a little border around your avatar in this case, which they're fairly common, but, or at least certain versions of them are fairly common, but there are lots of different ones that you can unlock, and so getting a new one that you can only get here, very cool. Oh man, we are so close. I would argue, it's just one battle in which we may or may not get additional resources, but let's just do a little bit of exploration here for a second, because it may be as simple as getting one more thing to loot and reaching that 1,500 gold threshold. That doesn't look good, though. It does perhaps mean that we have the potential of getting ourselves into something entirely different, but what is this? Oh, letter and key found. Time heals all wounds, they say. That memories fade. That the nightmares would end and my pain would cease. Yet, 8 years have passed since I left the world behind. Naught but prayer, confession, and reflection. I wonder still how my life might have been different had I refused the last mug of ale. Had I noticed the child, had I pulled back on the reins more quickly. I prayed for forgiveness once. Now I pray only for an end. Come swiftly. Ooh, that's dark. But we do get a key to something we were noting earlier, that we couldn't get into the primary settlement without a key, and we were thinking, hopefully at some point we would get the chance to pick one up, and that presumably is just the key we were looking for. Let's see, that is just barely enough. So let's make the upgrade. Let's go here. I believe we now have everything. Training grounds, fortress quarters. Yes, we will have 1 point. 1 gold. So hopefully we don't run into anyone or anything that requires that we spend some gold to make something important happen. Otherwise, we will be too broke to do it. But the theory here is, again, by doing this early, it means we have as much time as possible to generate as much gold from this as we can, and that should pay off in the long term. Short term, it'll hurt, but long term, it should be quite beneficial. And then, Herald's Study is tempting for our next upgrade here, but that's a lot more gold. Of course, we need a lot more of it before that'll become possible. So, I mean, we could continue going in this direction a little bit here, just to see what else there is to uncover. Like, this looks like there's likely something here. There is also a path that carries on here. But why don't we just double back a bit? And now that we have gotten that upgrade, let's do the puzzle that we were passing on a little bit earlier, because I want to see if we get the additional gold from this or not. I mean, I suppose I don't have a great sense. How much gold do you get by default just from finishing a puzzle? Without knowing that, well, that startled me. Oh, that was very loud and very sudden. I thought we were going to click on that, and then it would trigger, not randomly trigger when we got closer. Oh man, okay. This sacred cemetery had once been an oasis of peace. A cemetery? Sure about that? A place of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Alas, necrophages now scuttle among exhumed graves, and human bones litter its grounds. Priestesses believed the beast's sudden appearance heralded some impending woe. Yet, in what form? What fate awaited Lyria and its people? Weaken each enemy to 1 power is our objective here. It is a puzzle. There are special rules. It's a shortened battle, custom deck. So, presumably, that means we're not actually destroying any enemies. Actually, that'd be an interesting question. We'll have to take a look once we get in, but if we get rid of, say, all but one opponent, and that one opponent has 1 power? Does that still count, or do we need to make sure that every opponent lives and also has 1 power? We'll see. Let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, this battle will last only 1 round. It's a bunch of Rot Fiends, all with the same amount of power. Deploy, spawn a base copy of this unit. Okay, well, that's already happened. Death Wish, damage all units on this row by 4. Okay, so this... Actually, that question I was just asking is perhaps even more relevant than I would have realized, because we could use the Rot Fiends to damage all units on this row and take other Rot Fiends out. Actually, you know what? I'm thinking that is what's going to happen here. I imagine what's going to happen is we may want to destroy at least one of them, damage the other 2 by 4, and then that means the total amount of damage that we need to deal from our cards is significantly less. But let's take a look at what we have here. So we have Lyria and Rivia, damage unit by the number of cards on this row, including self. So that's, I'm guessing, going to be our primary source of damage. As well as a War Wagon spawn 2 light infantry on the right. So this would be a way of getting additional units out there so that we can have more damage with the Arbalest. That makes sense. And then we can use Count Caldwell to create at least 1 more, if not perhaps 2 more, Lyria and Rivia. Then Decoy, this is new to us. Restraint. Return an ally from the battlefield to hand. Ooh, so you get to play it again. And so there are a few different ways we could do that, of course. We could play Lyria and Rivia a second time. Or, I mean, the way to technically maximize our damage would likely be to play Count Caldwell again. Or bring him back to our hand so we can play him again. Put him next to Lyria and Rivia, and that way we can play all the two Lyria and Rivia a second time. So, lots of potential routes we could take here. Let's see. I'm thinking, at least to start things off with, let's just try to maximize the damage, and let's see where that takes us. It may be that we actually need to get a little bit more clever than that, and we need to hold back some of our damage just to have the numbers line up properly and make sure that every enemy is on 1 power. But let's start off with the War Wagon.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Because again, this just gives us as many units as possible out there. So if we go now with a Lyria and Rivia, and oh well, end our turn. Lyria and Rivia here. Oh, remind me what their ability is. Move to the other row. Oh. Another thing I did not even consider. Can we damage ourselves with Lyria and Rivia? We can. I think we can. Because it says damage unit, not just damage an enemy unit. So that should mean that in theory, if we felt the need, we could use the light infantry, we could destroy light infantry, and in doing so, damage one of the Rot Fiends by 5, which might otherwise be sort of a hard number to get to. Let's see. Yeah, lots of potential directions we could go in here. So let's try. Let's just try a Lyria and Rivia here. And so this is going to give us a lot of damage. And, So we could play, obviously we're going to end our turn here, but we could play another Lyria and Rivia and get 5 damage when we play him, which would certainly be enough to destroy this Rot Fiend. And then that would damage the other Rot Fiends, such that they go down to 4 apiece. But then that's difficult, because at that point, that means that these guys we would have too much damage. We would destroy them. If we were to play another Arbalest, we would not be able to lower them down to just 1, unless we get clever with moving around the light infantry, or playing another Lyria and Rivia in a different row. So let's try it. I'm still curious to see how the numbers start lining up here. So we get rid of you. Oh, no. Okay. So that confirms the theory. Or answers our question. Are you allowed to destroy any of them? The answer is no. So they have to all remain on the playing field and have 1 power. It's not like you can destroy 2 of them and just have 1 of the 3 units remaining and have that 1 unit have 1 power. Okay. So, we were wondering, now we know. That's good to know for sure. Okay, so again, that means that also answers a question about, do we want to be maximizing the amount of damage we're getting from a single Arbalest? And I think the answer to that question is definitely not. Because otherwise, we're going to have what just happened happen again. We're going to end up destroying a Rot Fiend rather than weakening it significantly. So, what we want is we want to get increments of 7 damage, basically. So whether that's a pure 7 damage or probably more likely 3 damage and then 4 damage, how do we make that happen? So I think if we go, we may still want to go War Wagon here. This gives us 3 units out there.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Alternatively, we could also go 5 damage from destroying a light infantry and 2 damage from playing a Lyrian Arbalest in a row that doesn't have a lot of units in it. So many combinations here. Okay, let's try this. We'll end our turn. Try this again. May or may not be the way to go here, but I think it's at least a decent starting point. So now we want 3 damage, and we can do that by doing this. So that Rot Fiend is, in theory, now primed and ready to go. Now we could... Let's end here. We can go with this Arbalest and put it here for 4 damage.
Give me a time.
And then I'm thinking what we do is we go Count Caldwell and put him here to get 2 more of the Arbalists. And so you go 1 here. This is our 3 damage to get you down to 1. Then our second one, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 6. This is the tough part. How do we avoid destroying this Rot Fiend? What if now we destroy a light infantry instead? What if we go... Or even one of our own units? We need 7 damage. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. We need 1 more, which at this stage... Decoy, I don't think we'd be able to make that happen. If we were to play the Lyrian Arbalest here. If we play you here, we get 4 damage. And then we... I mean, we still have too much. Even if we decoy another Arbalest and replay it in this row. So I'm not sure this combo is going to work. But let's go for this. Like I said, I think we have too much damage here. I think no matter what, we're going to find that a decoy is going to give us too much, because we only want 3 damage. So what we would do is we'd say, get rid of one of you. And by get rid of, I mean put it back in our hand. And then our lowest damage would be to play you here in melee row, but this is still 4 damage, which is obviously going to kill this Rot Fiend, which we don't want to do. We could kill light infantry, but that's going to deal 5 damage, which is also obviously too much, but I think that's likely what we're going to find, is that we may need to kill a light infantry earlier on in the process, and that may be the answer we're looking for. So, I mean, we'll do this, but we're going to fail. So let's try again. We're getting closer. So it turns out we perhaps need to hold back even more than we tried to that time. So it may not even be the right play to lead off with War Wagon. But at least the first Rot Fiend is fairly straightforward to take down. But you know, there may be sort of a domino effect, where if we go too aggressive too early on, then it's just never going to work out in our favor. But let's try this for now. And then, let's see. So last time what we did was we moved 2 light infantry to this row, put a Lyrian Arbalest in that row to deal 3 damage to get you down to 1. So it does work for 1 Rot Fiend. But like I said, the question is that going to set us up for failure in the long term? Because perhaps it might, But let's try it. I think we're gonna go, to a certain extent at least, with process of elimination here. We're getting closer each time, though, so let's go with this. Actually, was that the direction we went in? Not sure if that's exactly how we did it, but let's... Yeah, I think we did do this, right? Because we had two Lyria and Rivia next to each other. So now this is where I think we want to start mixing things up a little bit more. Maybe, what if we consider Count Caldwell now? And we play you next to the Lyria and Rivia, so we get two of them. Then that would mean we'd have 4 units down here. So if we played an Arbalist in this row, we would have 5 damage, which is probably more than we want. Almost certainly more than we want. I don't know if I like that then. We go here, play Count Caldwell next to you, and get a couple more light infantry. That gives us a little more flexibility with our damage, so we can move some people around. But it does mean that we are suddenly... We would need to get exactly 7 damage from the first Lyria and Rivia, or from this Lyria and Rivia in our hand, and we would need to decoy and be able to do it again. So that may be the answer, actually. That's intriguing. You need 7 units in a row, including this Lyria and Rivia. So 1, 2, 3. Caldwell would be 4. 5, 6. I think this does work. Oh no, but then we need Caldwell and this... Okay, I don't think this quite works, but I think we're getting close. So if we go here...
Tiberius.
Wait. What? Oh, do we not? We don't have copies of them in our deck! Okay, well that's not even an option then. Well, I think we have certainly learned that this is not the answer in that case. We could... I mean, this is not going to work, but... because we can, we'll do that. And oh, it randomly targets something. Oh man, okay, that's also good thing to know. I had assumed that we were going to be able to choose which unit to damage by 5. And so that means that if we are going to rely on destroying our own infantry there, then we would need to do that first. Otherwise, we'd be at risk of randomly targeting something and destroying a unit rather than weakening it. So, oh man. Yeah, this one is complex. This one is very complex. So, what I was initially thinking that we would do in that previous one was that we would get this down to 1 power, and then we would have ourselves set up to deal 7 damage with a Lyria and Rivia, use that to immediately drop 1 Rot Fiend from 8 down to 1, and then use Decoy to make that happen again. I think that may still be a tempting route to take. Let's try it. So we go here, and then, obviously, pass. Then, I'm going to... Let's see. We go... No, I don't think we want Caldwell here, because, like we were saying before, doesn't create copies of the light infantry. So let's go with an Arbalist. Gives us a lot of damage, for sure. I'm getting skeptical of the deal 4 damage route. That just may not be the answer at all. Because if we go here, that's already going to be tough to deal with. Oh, actually, what if we do this? That lowers you to 3. Then we go Caldwell. Put you here. We can put... That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Caldwell would be 6. Then Arbalist would be 7. Let's try this.
Keep calm, Tiberius.
So, we get 1 here. This is 7 damage, so that's perfect. Now if we go here... Hold on. I think we're getting close. Because... if we don't damage this one, and instead damage this... I think we damage this. I think we've got it. We do this, and turn. We do this. That's 2 damage, and then decoy played again. Okay, we've got it. Decoy you. Do this again. to get you down to 1, and there we have it. That's a tough one. Very tough one. Lots of different directions you could go in with that. Yeah, so I was curious to see, did we get additional gold from that? We had 1 gold. We got up to 22, so we got 2 gold from that puzzle. Does that line up? Oh, not that button. Does that line up with the amount of gold that we were learning we would theoretically get from battles, or does that mean that that gold was coming from a different source? No, I don't think it works for puzzles, seeing as how we should have gained 25 to 75 gold. So I think that means that this will only apply for actual battles, not puzzle battles. That's definitely good to know as well. Does mean that perhaps not as important to pick that stuff up early on, but still, presumably, you know, if we are going to get it, now is the time to do it. So, not a bad decision, I wouldn't think, but just not quite as good as we might have been hoping it would be. Okay, so that encounter is all set.
You return. Our prayers have been answered. May the Mother Goddess watch over you.
Oh, alright, and our morale goes from neutral back up to high. So that worked well with the encounter that we picked recently that had us go from high down to neutral. Well, now we have gotten back up into the green. Let's check over here. We were taking a quick look over here previously. We did not have the chance to, do everything. So we did pick up a key. I was assuming it was going to be a key to let us into that main city. But this looks like it's locked, so I imagine it's probably a key to this. And perhaps we'll get the key to the actual city from helping out with the Strays of Spala. Okay, so what is this? My question. Just a larger chunk of resources? I mean, it's fine. Wasn't sure if it was going to give us something a little bit more unique. And I'm curious. If we take a look at our map here. Okay, oh. Yeah, we're actually quite a bit to the east now. So this is all the way up here, at this point of interest. Wasn't entirely sure if the Strays of Spala camp that people were referring to previously was meant to be this spot with the battle, or this spot with the point of interest. So, I don't know. Well, that certainly looks like a camp of some variety. So, I am suspicious of that. Let's maybe loot some stuffs first here. And I think we were saying previously that we needed, what, gold for the other upgrade that we were eyeing? This is the other spot. Oh, this is the battle, I would imagine. And this also doesn't look so good, so I'm guessing this is maybe an area that the Strays of Spala attacked, and then up there to the north is the actual place where the Strays of Spala are themselves. Oh, and this is also a fast travel spot? That it is. Okay. So do we have a preference in terms of which one we go for first here? Battle or the point of interest? Actually, this little village down here looks like that is not the battle. That looks like it is independent of that. It's further north. Oh, I don't mean to do that. Apparently right-clicking. Oh, well, we're right next to the fast travel spot. Does in fact open up the map. Yes. Yeah, what is this? Got more wood, at the very least, but it's more so referring to this dead guy. Report. Your Majesty, the Strays of Spala slaughtered the entire village. Witnesses claim folk had refused the brigade's aid. Have we the coin to give these poor souls a proper burial? I seem like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So we already have high morale. So technically speaking, the only thing this does is it means we're throwing away coins. It doesn't actually give us any bonus morale-wise. So this doesn't help us, it actually hurts us. So technically that does mean that it is preferable to just walk away, as heartless as that may be. So, I mean, I don't know if there are any further ramifications. Are there any sort of things that are based on what decision we make here that might be more impactful later on? Not entirely sure. We have the choice of changing our mind later and coming back to it. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Our decision appears to be final. Oh. Well, that definitely looks like a battle. So we have a dragon-like creature here versus the Strays of Spala further to the north. Let's just see if there's any... Yeah, a little more loot here. At least a little more. I'm thinking maybe we go Strays of Spala first, since that was the encounter that those village people were requesting that we help them out with. So I imagine it's going to be something that triggers as soon as we approach this right here. Yeah, and you can see they have the mask that we've seen on previous Strays of Spala, and that's probably their mark right there, their sigil. But that being said, I think this is a good place for us to wrap up here, and next time we will see if we can bring these Strays of Spala to justice.